Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again. This is Draft to Glory, the franchise mode series where we build a team out of, hey, guess what? The draft. No free agent signings, no trades, or at least no major free agent signings. Of course, we do need to fill the roster. But anyway, the last episode, we had our best season yet. We had what I felt like was our best draft yet, although quite a few of you disagreed because of the fact that I took two goalies in that draft rather than position players. And let me just say this. Yes, having, like a 90 rated or a really high overall goaltender can be a bit overrated, but it's not a bad thing to have the goaltenders that we do at the moment. You have to remember as well, a part of this series is not only building the NHL team, but also building the AHL team, because year in and year out, we are going to have players down with the Hershey Bears. We're going to want them to be successful as well. And simply put, with the Quirk pick, with the Saget pick, like I mentioned in that video, at the time, they were near guarantees, as opposed to some of the other players. Ray Yip was a common player. There was a defenseman as well. At the time, guys, it would have been a risk, and I think it was New Jersey that got stuck with the high top 9 forward as like the 5th overall pick. That's what I wanted to avoid. So, while you might disagree with the fact that I took 2 extra goalies in that draft, it'll be okay. We're still going to suck. Keep that in mind. We are still going to be pretty damn terrible. But that's fine. Now, with 5 goalies on the roster, we're good to go for a while, and we get to focus on forwards and defensemen for the rest of the way. And in this episode, actually, we get to go out and sign quite a few players. So let's do that. And then we'll get into the sim, and as I've been doing, we'll hope to get to the next year's draft as well, where hopefully we end up with the number 1 overall pick. You have to remember, too, the plan was to hopefully end up with the number 1 overall pick, and that would have given us a completely different outlook. Regardless, I think we're going to end up in the same place. I think we will still end up having some level of success in this series. You just have to give it time, and while you might not agree with some of the moves at that particular time, I have a feeling it'll all work out all right. So have just a little bit of faith. Just a little bit of faith. Now, as far as who we're signing here, I have no idea. I think I might still go off of the names, but even then, it is tough to say. I mean, if there's somebody, closer to a 70 overall, I'm not going to be too concerned about picking them up. We will pick up Fortunas as a veteran. I'm cool with that, and actually we'll sign him, not to a 7-year deal, but he'll be one of our max contract players. Regardless of who I sign here, for the most part, as long as they're a certain overall, we're going to be pretty terrible. That's still going to be a thing where we are absolute garbage, but that's alright. Misha Moore, hell of a name. I don't really have an idea on who to sign. Brian Brosnan. No, we'll pass on you too. Let's see. Who do we have here? I mean, we're still only at a 64 overall. There's so much garbage, no offense, in the free agent list that just sits here year in and year out. It's not too big of a concern. But I also don't want to take too much time with this. So I'm just trying to find some familiar names, mainly, just to get some players signed so we can keep going. I was mainly looking, too, so hoping for a few more veterans, as opposed to these random guys. We'll sign Adam Almquist. Why not? Almquist, I should say. We'll sign him as well. It won't be to a max deal, but it'll be pretty close. And who else? Darren Radish. Yeah, we'll sign Darren Radish too. It would have to be an entry-level deal for him, though. Now, I can tell you, especially after the season that he's had, for whatever modes start up towards the end of NHL 17, I have, boosted him up a little bit, so he should at least be a bit more of a presence, or at least, be a bit better of a player that might not just be completely invisible like he is here. So look forward to that. Do I want to sign one more defenseman? His name is Bobo. Okay, Bobo Peterson. You are being signed as quickly as I can hit the buttons. Bobo Peterson. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. All right, so as far as the big contracts, we're pretty much good to go. Now we just need, quite a few forwards to be on. So I'm going to look at veterans first. Let's look at veterans. Any terrible veterans? Teemu Laine is still available. And I might as well just sign him to the two-way deal. It doesn't really matter. Tuomas Pillman, I'm going to guess. 72 overall. You're a bit too good. We'll sign Juha Koivisto. Why the hell not? Is that Cam? Nope, it's not Cam Abbott. It's Chris Abbott. And we'll sign you as well. Scotty Upshaw's a 71. Tapio Laxo. Sure. We'll sign all of the veterans. Just all of them that are at least under a certain overall. Torrey Mitchell. Perhaps the most recognizable name that we're going to have on one of our teams so far. I'm going to sign Clark MacArthur too. He's below a 70. So I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. Corey Elkins, Mike Brown. Sure. Why not? Are they the lowest overall guys? No. But who really cares? We're going to be a lottery team anyway. And we'll sign PL3. Why not? He's actually looking for a bit of money as a fourth line listed guy. That is hilarious. Liam Redux. I almost want to sign Chris Bork, but I'll hold to the 70 rule. And actually, for the most part, I think we're good to go. I will try to sign Zach Stortini, though. Let's try to bring in Zach Stortini. Bring in a couple of enforcers like we did a few seasons ago. It didn't work out too well, but it was worth it just to double check to see if they could actually do anything. Any other familiar veterans that are absolutely terrible? Stu Bickle. Anybody else? No? Yeah, we'll scroll down a little bit further. I think we're good. It's pretty much all the leftover Finns and Swedes, primarily Finns, that never get signed. Yep, we're good. I think we're good. As I keep scrolling. All right, we're good. Screw it. That's the cutoff point. We'll see if these guys sign with us, and then we get to move on to the start of the next season. And again, will we have any more progression from some of our players? That is the hope, as somebody had to decline, but we should be good. I'm just going to check the contract number really quick, and then we'll move on from there. We shall move on from there. $13 million in cap space. 50 out of 50 on the contracts. Let's go to the start of the next season. Now, of course, last year we had our best season yet, which is great. Our goaltending is going to be even better on both levels, although, of course, some people aren't too happy about that, but that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, we're probably going to end up in the same spot, and there is a lot of concern about what happens if you have, those four goalies, 4 out of 5, they end up being NHL ready. I do have a feeling that at some point trading will factor in to this series. It is still going to be down the road, and I don't know if I'll get too ridiculous with it. Say, for example, that all three, Marmanland, Quirk, and Ottinger are all NHL ready. They're all starters. At that point, yeah, I'll probably make a trade. It would only be for picks. If I do introduce trading to this series, it would be for picks only. Would I pick Horde? Would I go for, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks in one deal? I don't know. Would it just be for, Ottinger, we can get a first out of him. Oh, no, wait, we can't? Okay, we'll get the second out of him. Kind of like that, and we might only get the one pick per player. We'll figure it out. I'm not too concerned about it. We are still, despite this being, season 5 that we're coming up on? We are still in the very early stages of this series. This could be my first and potentially only series that ever goes the full 25 years. We'll see. And especially, too, with the amount of progress we are making early on in this series. Now, Verkunen is one of ours, is he not? All 6 of these guys were drafted by us. So that's promising. That is very, very promising. And we do have an 82 overall in Moroza. Manez will be, who I actually found out is a real player when I was looking through the rosters the other day. He'll be the top defenseman on that team for the Hershey Bears. All right, so we're looking good so far. Nolan Patrick, an 89 overall, which is ridiculous. Juha Koivisto. Let's see, who's the first guy here that belongs to us? Wow, we have to go way up. It's Owen Lane. Okay, so everybody else is an off-roster player. Winquist is up to an 85 overall. That is a beautiful sight. A beautiful sight indeed. Let's see, who else do we want to go with here? Well, we will just go with the best overall players. Of course, I do have some of the fourth-line guys. So we'll call up these two 67s. That means we'd have to leave a 66. Actually, no, Clark MacArthur would stay. That's not what I meant to do, but all right. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. We'll roll with the 67s. Yes, there are some guys who are listed as fourth-line players, you know, particularly the enforcers that are stuck, although Stortini did go down to a minor league fourth-liner. So that worked out. Everything worked out. Let's get these lines set. Nolan Patrick, a legitimate first-line forward, which is pretty damn sweet. So it's Winquist, Nolan Patrick, and Andrei Svechnikov. Second line is Owen Lane, Nicholas Amato, and Mike Boyes. We have Radoslav Polak also on the team. So Pataki isn't ours, MacArthur isn't ours, and Yeeman isn't ours. But we can call up Ahonen. Can any of you guys play center? No, you can't. All right, well, never mind. Never mind, but we're close. We are close. We have 3 players on this roster that weren't drafted by us, and odds are we could have that. You know, we could have a team of all of our draft picks, but some of these guys might be better set to stay down at the AHL level. Although Ola Ekman, you know what? Hold on. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. We could very well call up Ola Ekman because it's not that big of a deal. So Polak was ours. We'll have to send down Clark MacArthur. So Laxo wasn't, but Ola Ekman was. Who else do we have here? Who else do we have? Just double checking. We have Valaket, who isn't terrible, but he's a 60. So Valaket's a bit too weak, but we can make the swap, Clark MacArthur, for Ekman. And just like that, I think we're looking a little bit better, and Ekman should hopefully continue to improve. Now let's go over to goaltending. Quirk and Saget, your 2 goaltenders this year. Not too bad. We'll go best lines again. And yeah, I am liking the looks of this team. I am very much liking the look of this team. We will go with Marmondland as the starter. Ottinger is getting very, very close to, I mean, by this time next year, he could be an 85 overall. Tough to say. But let's go ahead and move forward. 78, 79, and 85 for the ratings. How 2 goalies rated 82 and 80 equal out to an 85 overall rating? I personally have no idea. But it is what it is. That's just one of those things in this game where you pretty much have no choice but to just shrug it off and say, well, it is what it is. And I have mentioned that in the past. I don't understand the way that they find, what their ratings are. I don't quite understand what their formula is to get those particular overall ratings, but needless to say, I disagree with the system, and I think it could be a little bit better, although, like I said, I don't know exactly what the system is, so it would be nice to know for sure. But one way or another, you would think that a team with 82 and an 80 overall rated goalie would probably equal out to 81 goaltending. Just a thought, just a thought. I mean, whether or not it factors in a team's defense or whatever else, I don't know. I should note, though, like I mentioned with the goaltenders and how I don't really plan on, I definitely don't plan on getting another goalie unless there is a goalie inside the top 5. Top 10, probably not, because they'll be the same level as Quirk. But if there is a goalie inside the top 5 who looks like an absolute beast, then yeah, I'll take that goalie, and we'll figure things out from there. So that leads me to the scouting, where I will be able to just focus on forwards and defensemen for pretty much every region. So I'm hoping we end up getting a bit more in-depth scouting reports. That's another reason as to why it made sense to get the goalie. A lot of those forwards that we could have ended up with, a lot of those guys, as I should have sent Clark MacArthur back down, but that's fine. A lot of those guys should have had more information on them than they did. The hope now is that we're focusing solely on forwards and defensemen, is that we'll have that extra bit of information. Like I said, we could have ended up with Yip. He was a very common name and really one of the few names I remember from that draft, aside from Duncan, of course. But we should have more information to avoid that situation where instead of being like, okay, we need the forward, but it makes sense to take the defenseman. Rather than that situation happening, and actually it wasn't MacArthur I called up, it was LeBlond, and he actually stayed in the lineup despite best lines, so we'll keep him there. I think you get my point, though. Rather than that situation happening again, we're going, or at least should in theory, have the information on these players so that we know for sure, like, oh, okay, Yip is a guarantee, or we can take this guarantee of a goaltender. Now, all of this wouldn't have been an issue if we won the draft lottery, but that's the great thing about this series, is there is no guarantee of getting that number 1 overall pick year in and year out, no matter how bad we may be in this series. Obviously, things would be looking a little bit better for us if we had the number 1 overall pick year in and year out, as we should. How the hell did we beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 8-4? You should be embarrassed. You should lose your franchise because of that. No offense to Blue Jackets fans. You just lost to this team 8-4. You should lose your franchise. You shouldn't have a team anymore. It just should not be allowed. Shouldn't be. We've actually won 3 games in a row and 4 out of 5 to start the month of November. We did lose to the Red Wings again, but at the moment we have a winning record. The Hershey Bears, unfortunately, are pretty garbage. They're pretty terrible. Not all that surprising, I guess. Alexander Belanger was obviously a step up on Cork at the moment, and we did have quite a bit of roster turnover. And who knows, maybe next offseason I will look to get some better overall players. We'll see. I'm still undecided on that. It's a year in, year out decision as to whether or not I want to pick up some better overall guys. I kind of already did that with Clark MacArthur rather than taking the guys in the 50 overalls. But I do look forward to getting to the draft in this episode. The last draft, say what you want about whether or not it was the right pick at the right time, but we did hit on basically every single one of our selections. And I am hoping, like I said, with how we can approach scouting this year, that we're able to find some gems. And it would be nice, it would absolutely be nice, to get that first overall pick. I still expect us to finish last in the league, although right now I'd care to guess that we're not actually the worst team in the league at this stage with a 10-11-2 record. Which is just mind-boggling. How do we have that good of a record? Yes, I know, our goaltending is the best it's ever been. We do have Nolan Patrick. Things are looking good, but still, I didn't think we'd win 10 games in a year until like season 10. I really thought it would be much more of a slow build, so we are making a bit more progression as I just punched my controller. How did I manage to do that? The good thing is, it looks to be okay. It looks to be okay. But we are in the middle of December. We're still probably, technically, in the playoff race, which is hilarious. The Hershey Bears are awful, but that's okay. I should note, though, the one thing that sucks about the scouting is obviously every 2 weeks, so I can make sure I at least hit most of the areas, if not all of them. It might be a bit time consuming, but at least with auto-rotate goalie on, we're still cruising along here. We've just about hit the 20-minute mark of this episode, I do believe. Maybe not quite. And we're almost halfway through this season, which is kind of the goal. The start of the video took a little bit longer than I expected with trying to find free agents to sign, but that's just my own fault. I should have signed whoever I could have found to begin with. But we're still making good time. We're still making good time. And these videos, until we get to the stage where we're actually in the playoffs, are going to take a while. We're always going to sim the season. That's always going to happen. Pretty much every season will be simmed in one episode. It's just a matter of if we get to the playoffs, we will still take that one episode and one series at a time. But I have a feeling we're still quite a ways away from that. So you don't have to worry about it just yet. We finally won a game, though. It had been a while. And then Kip Goring goes down to injury, and I'm going to have to edit the lines here because I believe we don't have anybody. We have Yemens. I have no idea. We're going to have to send him down, though, and call up an actual defenseman. Actually, have we had any progression from our forwards? MacArthur, not really. No. Okay, so we don't have to worry about it. So we will... How's Letourneau PL3 doing? Letourneau LeBlanc. He's got 4 points. He's a -9. Yeah, we could keep the face puncher into the lineup. I don't think it'll hurt us too much. Defenseman, we will give Manez the call-up. Manez. I still haven't looked up how to pronounce it because I don't necessarily care all that much. He's a good foot soldier for us at the moment, but long-term, he's not going to be the future of this team with a medium AHL top 2 potential. But for the moment, he's a good little foot soldier for us. Marmolin and Ottinger both up an overall point each. That is fantastic. Let's get back to simming here. Can we beat Toronto 2 games in a row to really embarrass them? No, we cannot. But we have won 15 games this year. Already, we've won 15 games this year. It wasn't all that long ago where we didn't win a game until the last day of the season. So to see us win 15 games, that's a sign of improvement, as you would expect, of course, getting high draft picks. But you get what I'm saying. And anyone who's been watching me for a while now knows that right now I'm just stalling for time. I'm just absolutely stalling for time. Could I make a jump cut? Could I make a jump cut and just say, all right, hey, I'm going to sim the season. Let's get to the end of the season. We'll look at all the stats and everything. Could I do that? Absolutely. But maybe it's just a part of the charm. I don't think I have any charm, but maybe it's just a part of the charm of my channel and the way I make my videos. The fact that you get to sit here and, we're on this journey together. We're on this journey together as we get to see this team go from being absolutely terrible to slightly less terrible at this stage. Still nowhere near the playoff picture. Although I do wonder, will there be a team worse than us this year? Will there be a team that actually finishes somewhat close to us in terms of the standings? Typically, there's been a pretty big point differential between the 30th place team and the 29th. Will that gap close in this episode? I'd say that there's a pretty good chance of us not being the worst team by a country mile. We're still going to be the worst team, but by how much? By how much? And that is due to Nolan Patrick. That top line getting it done. That top line is getting it done. And Andrei Svechnikov is scoring goals. I'm actually going to swap him and Winquist around. The one thing I haven't done yet is we put Goring back into the lineup too early and he gets hurt again. The one thing I haven't done is I haven't paid too much attention to player types or, the position, left wing, right wing, stuff like that, where I just swapped Svechnikov and Winquist around, and I'm going to do it again. I haven't paid too much attention to that just because, for the most part, I don't like to change players up until they're, 80 overall plus. So Svechnikov, he's good as a sniper. The only thing I'd change is left wing, right wing. Nolan Patrick could change into a playmaker. He'd kind of be like a Kevin Hayes type. I mean, he's a physical player, but you could argue, have him as a playmaker. The fact that he's putting up points now is, it's why bother changing him at the moment. So we're good. I don't think we have to worry about that yet either. As Hayduk goes down to injury, I said I wanted to get this video done in a timely manner. Not going to happen with this, with these frequent injuries, this amount of injuries. Ola Eriksson will get a chance on the main roster. And now I kind of expect us to really start losing games, as if we weren't already. But it's about to get worse. It is about to get a lot worse. But that's okay. That's okay. We've won 16 games this year. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. So, EA, you can't bring me down just yet. Although, is Hayduk going to be fully healthy here? Let's see. Is it going to pop up? Hayduk, are you fully healthy? Please? Damn it. Whatever. I'll just go check. By the way, Hershey, 3 wins. 3 wins this year for Hershey. We're on 39 points. We're on 39 points this season. Sweet. So, let's see. Is Hayduk fully healthy? He isn't, because of course not. And if I put him back into the lineup too early, he'll get injured again, just like Goring did. So that's great. Let's sim this game against the Panthers. We'll sim to our next game. He will be fully healthy. And we'll get him back into the lineup. We have an 85 overall goaltending rating. Sweet. Manez and Eriksson, both the same. We'll send down Manez. Eriksson's also a 69 overall. We will send down the one with the weaker potential. It's a shame that Goring is having morale trouble. Hopefully that's just because of the injury. I mean, is it because he's, just failing to adapt to getting his ass kicked at the NHL level? I don't know. Tough to say. Tough to say. Let's get back to it. 55 games down, closing in on the end of this season. Trade deadline is coming up. The hope now is that we can stay healthy, please. We do get a 1-0 shutout win over Carolina. Can we please just stay healthy for the rest of the way? We've had quite a few injuries. Can we just stay healthy, win a couple more games, and make things interesting? That's all I'm asking for. So we scouted Russia twice. Let's go to the SHL next. There's only 2 weeks, so I am expecting, some players to not pop up. But then if we find out, I could have done 3 weeks each, we'll do that next time. We just had a 4-game winning streak before we lost 7-1 to the Bruins. And then we beat Philly right after that. We've won 22 games. Holy hell. 22 games with 5 overtime losses. Just fantastic stuff. My God, though, the Hershey Bears. Oh, the Hershey Bears. Of course, in real life, although not in the Calder Cup playoffs anymore, but a just dominant force in the AHL year in and year out. Not anymore. Not in this series. Not by a long shot. Not in this series. Now, Goring is healthy, but we are going to wait until he is 100%. I don't need him getting injured again. Although, in fairness, Eriksson's been in the lineup, and we have done extremely well ever since. We're on 55. We are 7 points back. We're only 11 points out of a playoff spot, guys. 7 points back of Columbus. They don't have a playoff spot, though. We're 11 points out of the playoffs. Unbelievable to be in this spot this early. That is awesome. So, Goring is healthy. Eriksson didn't progress, and actually hasn't progressed at all, despite playing. I hate this chair. I never know if it picks up on the mic. That probably did. I hate this chair. I really do. I need to do something about that. I really do. Fortunately for me, I'm not yet one of those YouTubers that just has these amazing fucking gaming chairs sent to them yet, although that would be very helpful at the moment. Just let me say. That would be very helpful at the moment, rather than using this old computer chair. And it's not that old, but still, it squeaks, and that's not good for mic audio at all. But as we approach the half-an-hour mark of this video, we are almost through this season. As far as looking at stats, I took way too much time with that in the last episode, so I am going to kind of breeze through that section. We will still look at everything, team stats, player stats, for our club, league-wide. We'll look at the playoff bracket, the cup-winning team, the awards, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I want to get to the draft. The goal is to keep these videos under an hour long. I feel like anything more than that is a bit much, although although it typically hasn't mattered with my channel and you guys, hasn't mattered if videos are 15 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, you have been right there. And it is pretty sweet now to see pretty much, every franchise mode video is getting over, it's a guaranteed 1,000 views now at this rate, which is pretty sweet. Ultimate Team, we're still getting there. Of course, the Porks Battalion being in Div 1, hopefully that bumps up the interest a little bit. I don't know if Ultimate Team will ever be my bread and butter, but I do enjoy making those videos, although I'm not sure if this video will go up alongside an episode of each series, although that is kind of the plan. I don't know if that'll happen, though, in saying that. To be honest, right now, as I'm recording this video, I should be editing an episode of each Ultimate Team, but I just didn't have it in me tonight. I'm like, well, screw it. If I'm not gonna edit, I should at least record something. And what better to record than something like this, where, I don't really have to put too much thought into it. With a Nation United or with anything else, I do have to pay a bit more attention, mainly to team management. But at the moment, we're good. Ottinger isn't fully healthy, so I don't want to play him. Again, even as a backup, he can get injured if he's on the bench. It's ridiculous, but I have learned my lesson from years past. We have won at least 30 games this season. Holy hell, man. 67 points. One more win, and we're as good, or as bad, as the Toronto Maple Leafs were that won the draft lottery to get Austin Matthews. That's a thing. That is a thing. That might just go to show how ridiculous this game is, but that is a thing. They finished with 69 points that season. Almost finished with 67. That's why I remember that, because Steve Dangle would have lost his mind. Well, as if he doesn't typically, usually. But you get the point. All right, we're almost here. Almost to the end of the season. Our locker room chemistry really dipped, but that's because, of course, we're not going to make the playoffs. 20 points back of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby, you're not on that team because it was a fantasy draft, but we're coming for you. And we have tied the Maple Leaf season from the Austin Matthews draft. Can we get one more point? We got another win. We were better than the Maple Leafs team that picked up Austin Matthews. Wow. The Hershey Bears only won 4 games, but our NHL team, man, progress. We're making progress, and we're only going to get better as we continue to add players, and we will be adding 7 more players in the draft coming up. Why is I guess we got to wait for the AHL season to end? I have no idea. We did finish last in the conference with Hershey, but that was, of course, expected. Germany. The Germans. We'll scout that out. And you know what? Let's just sim to the end of the season. We'll take a look at all of the stats there. And then we'll progress to the draft, and we will hope for the best. So we should be able. Now, I did miss like the opening week or 2 of scouting, I believe. I don't think I assigned the scout at that point. I didn't, actually. So we might technically miss out on a region, but that is okay. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we have 5 weeks left? We should. We should have 5 weeks left. So we're going to have to go 1 week each. Actually, we do have more than that. Can I afford to go 2 weeks each on these? I don't think I can. I'm going to try, though. So let's try extra League of Forwards for 2 weeks. It does say 31%. So yeah, we're going to fall. We're going to fall just short of being able to scout out every area, which kind of sucks. The fact that you can't scout out every region for 2 weeks in a season. That really sucks. And especially, too, if I were to scout out goalies. You know what I mean? I guess that's realistic in a way, but then again, an NHL team would be able to have their eyes on every region in the world at all times. I hate to bring up FIFA again, but at least with FIFA, for amateur scouting, for the pro scouting, you're technically allowed to have 6 scouts. But for the academy scouting, you're allowed to have 3 scouts, and you can send them to any region you want for a given amount of time. So it would be nice to be able to do that in NHL, to actually be able to scout out every region. It would help with finding those hidden gems in the draft. This is all stuff I've talked about before. The Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. I'm going to have to stop this here. I don't think I'm getting that extra week of scouting in there, which is unfortunate, but again, now we know. Couldn't fight off that burp. I tried. I really tried. Turns out when you talk for over half an hour straight, your body's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to find a way to piss you off and aggravate you. And yeah, it did. So let's see. Detroit won the President's Trophy. We finished with 71 points. We were only 7 points back of the Leafs. Go figure. Goals for per game. We were last in the league, but not by much. Only 13 more goals scored for the New Jersey Devils. Goals against per game. Oh my God. We weren't last. The Islanders and the Flyers allowed more goals per game than we did. Our power play wasn't the worst, and our penalty kill was the second best penalty kill in the league. Are you kidding me? How did we have the second best PK in the league? That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense, but that's incredible. That is incredible. Nolan Patrick, 64 points. Svechnikov with 61. Owen Lane with 46. Winquist with 43. Motto also had a pretty strong season. I will just scroll through the rest of these, and you guys can take a look on your, well, not on your own time, but at your discretion. Marmanland, 58 appearances with a .916 save percentage and 83 overall. And Ottinger, 29 appearances with a .927 save percentage. Good Lord, improvement. That's why I draft goaltenders. Well, no, I mean, come on. That'd be hypocritical of me to say. Obviously, I've talked about, the inconsistency with goaltenders in the past. But overall, I still feel like we made the right choice. And we had a pretty strong season. Rookies, the rookie race still is just weird. Like, no rookies are being played. You look at the entire league. Pretty low scoring this year. Only 85 points for Patrick Kane. Malta Stromwall was up there for Vancouver. Every year, he caps off at like an 83, 84, but he puts up points. It makes no sense. Down at the AHL level, quickly we'll take a look. Yeah, I mean, who cares? Who cares? The Hershey Bears were absolutely terrible. This fucking chair, I hate it. The Hershey Bears were absolutely terrible. Get you a quick look at the bracket. The Avs beat the Rangers in 5 games. And down in the AHL, Springfield beat the Milwaukee Admirals in 6 games. That's what happens when you try to rush things, is you make a dumb mistake like that. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. I do actually want to take a look at Detroit as you get a look at their team. Of course, they won the President's Trophy, and I can see, I guess I can see why. They have a pretty strong team defensively. They have a good team. And they have Thatcher Demko in goal. But they didn't win the Cup. The Colorado Avalanche did with Braden Holtby between the pipes on defense. Again, a pretty strong squad. And the forward core, Mike Hoffman, Calle Yarncrook had 29 points in 24 games. Oh my God. What a monster he turned out to be. So congrats to the Avalanche for, yet again, another Stanley Cup. Their second in 3 seasons. So we are 5 seasons in, and the Avs have dominated one trophy, one Stanley Cup to the Eastern Conference. That was the Islanders in the first year. As you get a look at the trophy winners. Anybody for us, maybe? Anybody? Damn, we couldn't even win the Masterton this year. We couldn't even win the Masterton. My God. AHL level, there's no way. There's no way we took home any hardware. Not a chance. And indeed, that is the case. That does it for Season 5. We have a draft to go through. Let's see what will happen. We did finish last. Will we win the draft lottery. Of course, last year we fell back to the second overall pick, which was much better than falling back to 4. And again, this year, we kind of get screwed. Toronto falls out of the top 3. We end up with the second overall pick again. All right. Well, nothing we can do about it. Nothing we can do about it, as a ton of the players we signed for this season end up retiring. Of course, we wouldn't lose any goalies. We have a very young goaltending core. But Henrik Lundqvist is gone. Devin Dubnyk, Cam Ward as well. And then for the retired skaters, Corey Perry, Eric Stahl, Rick Nash, Patrice Bergeron, Brent Burns, a couple of big names leave the league this season. Let's go. It is draft time. The number 2 overall pick in the draft goes to us yet again. Let's hope we can have as successful of a draft this season as we did last year. Let's take a look at the big board. Oh my god. Oh my god. He might be franchised. Oh, the draft lottery, guys. The draft lottery just fucked us. Andrew Tamora. High elite at 18 years old. There's no way that he doesn't go number 1. Oh, that's a disaster for us. That is a disaster. All right, well, let's take a look at who else we have here. We have Renee Geet. Apparently, we just didn't scout at all. We also have a Swedish defenseman, Kim Widing? Widing. I have no idea. Played for Brynäs. Christian Gunnarsson, but he's showing up as high top 9. We scouted him 4 times, so we'd avoid him. So it's looking like Igor Grabeshkov would be our number 1 pick, although you could argue Kim Widing as well. All right. Well, it's going to be Widing or Grabeshkov. We have to see, though. Is there by some way Carolina doesn't take Tamora? Fuck. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, EA. EA was so positive. And we just missed out on a franchise-level player because of the draft lottery. This is what Tim Murray from the Buffalo Sabres feels like. Like, yeah, sure, we're getting a Jack Eichel. We just missed out on Connor McDavid. That's what just happened. We are the Buffalo Sabres. Andrew Tamora, 71 overall at 18 years old. Oh, god damn. Could you imagine this team with Tamora and with Duncan on defense, who, by the way, is up to an 85 overall after one fucking season at 20 years old. Oh my god. 85 overall at 20 years old, and a medium franchise player who at 18 years old is a 71, and we miss out on both of them in back-to-back years because we fall to the number 2 pick. Oh my god. I literally can't even. Igor Grabeshkov, the Russian sniper. We're not going to take the risk on Gunnarsson. He's also 19, although Gunnarsson would probably be the highest overall guy coming out of the draft. Or do we go with the defenseman, Kim Widing? I have no idea. Let's see. Later on, is there anybody like in the second round? We have Curry, Chevery, Hawk, Byrne. All right. Are there any decent defense? I mean, we're going to end up with somebody decent in the second round, too. It's just, do we take the defenseman or the forward? Like I said, we're very close to having a team made up. I mean, after this season, we will have a team made up, at least at the NHL level, of all drafted players. Igor Grabeshkov, or Kim Widing. I don't know, guys. What am I supposed to do? We just missed out on a franchise-level player. Shit. I don't know who to take. We need both of them. That's the problem. We could use both of them. Hold on here. Let me call my timeout. Timeout, Team Art. Timeout. Let me take a look. I cannot believe the 2 players that we have missed out on in consecutive years. My soul is just... Oh, God. We could use that elite defenseman. We have Patrick, Svechnikov, Lindqvist. We need a big-time defenseman. So it's going to be Whiting. I have no idea. I think Grabeshkov will be good. Let's go with the only defenseman inside the top 5, Kim Wheating. He is medium elite, as you would expect. Let's take a look. Andrew Tamura. Oh my god. And he's already the second highest valued player on our team, a 63 overall at 18 years old. At the very least, we'll get him down to the Hershey Bears. Hopefully he can make some decent progression. Let's see with the next pick. It was Grabeshkov. He went to the Nashville Predators. Let's go take a look on who we passed up on. And did we make the right choice? I feel like we did because we needed that big-time defenseman. But, yeah, Grabeshkov's about the same. 62 overall at 18 years old. So, there was a very clear number 1 overall pick. I fucking hate this chair. There's a very clear number 1 overall pick, and we didn't get him. We didn't get him for the second year in a row. Could you imagine what this team would look like with Duncan and Tamura? Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, so Geet was also elite and Gunnarsson was high top 6. Now, some people would argue high top 6 is a better potential than medium elite. So let's take a look here. Let's go to Toronto and New Jersey. And again, that's like 2 years in a row now that New Jersey have ended up taking a guy where it's just kind of like, ugh. I mean, it's not the best pick in the world. We'll take a look at the Devils first, who ended up with Gunnarsson. I had a feeling, 73 overall, 19 years old is pretty good. He is their second most valuable guy, aside from Taylor Hall. So not a terrible pick. If we were to have chosen him, he would have been a better pick for, now to improve the team at the moment. But I'm not against it. And Geet was 64 overall at 18 years old. So again, very clearly, only one guy was going number 1 overall. Jass was medium elite. There was a goalie there, but it's not like we would have needed him. Oh my god, we missed out on a franchise level player. Franchise level. Alright. Let's get back to it here. Let's get back to it. The highest rated guys are either top 9, high top 9, or high top 6. There is a goalie in the 3rd round. Don't worry, I won't take him, even though he's probably half decent. So, the decision comes down to, I would argue, Malakoff or Moss. Both still projected to go in the 1st to 2nd round. There is a guy named Blatter, but yeah, 0 times scouted, but high AHL top 6, 17 years old. His overall is going to be really low. So Igor Malakoff, 18 years old. We could have gone with 2 Russians, or we could take Matt Moss, 18 years old, the sniper. Do we want that extra bit of help on defense, or do we want to go with the forward? There's also Hugo Chevery. All right, Dylan Curry, Trent O'Byrne, and Bryce Nelson. Right. So do I go with another defenseman, or do I go with the forward help now? Let me take a look here. Let me take a look. So high top 6. I mean, we could still end up with high bottom 6 guys. It just looks like for defensemen, the best time to pick them is now. I mean, there are some high 7th guys who might be medium top 6 at best. As far as exact potential, I think we got to go with the defenseman. It's going to suck to miss out on Moss. He'll be pretty good. But let's go with another defenseman, Igor Malakoff. We will hope for the best, and he's medium top 4. All right, I'm good with that. Let's see. Blatter was actually medium top 6, but that's the equivalent of a Malakoff for forwards and defensemen. Curry was medium top 6, and Moss was medium top 6. All right, so I'm still content with the Malakoff pick. We add another solid defenseman to this team. We'll sim to our next pick here at the start of the 3rd round. I'm trying to put as much of a positive spin on this episode as I can. The fact that we had our best season yet is awesome, but who we missed out on really stings. So, next pick, Sergei Novoseltsev, a playmaker, 19 as well, so he'll probably be a little bit better. There's also Petr Melchar, high 7th though. We have Nicholas Bonks and Dustin Heinrich. We also have Christian Klein. But for me, as far as who we have scouted out, there's only one pick. It's going to be Sergei Novoseltsev, and we will hope for the best here. And low top 9 might not be ideal. Heinrich was high AHL top 2. Bonks was medium top 9. All right, but power forwards kind of develop a bit weird. They're very inconsistent. Klein was low top 9. I told you that goalie was going to be half decent. Velasic to Boston. Chubasov would have been a good pick. Low top 6, obviously better than low top 9. I don't feel like that's a complete swing and miss of a pick. I will take a look at his overall here, coming up in a minute. Actually, no, we'll just wait. We'll just wait. I don't feel like that was a bad pick. You know, you could argue Bonks, you could argue, you know, obviously Chubasov, but that's with the help of hindsight. Funk, Racine, that's with the help of hindsight. You could argue, well, there was a reason as to why they were still on the draft board, but overall, I'm happy with the selection that we made. And now we have another chance for a power forward here, Sven Backlund. There's also an enforcer, Marshall Pojar. All right. A lot of these guys, though, I know we only scouted it for 2 weeks, but a lot of them just haven't shown up. We do have Larry Scrimes, hell of a name, who might be our best pick. And if you're looking at forwards here, we have 2 forwards projected here in the 4th round, right? So we have the sniper, Larry Scrimes. The good thing is, 2 Burns in the 6th round and Coop in the 7th round could be good steals for us. But, you know, aside from that, you have high AHL top 6. And that's that. There aren't any good defensemen left. You do have these guys as well that are projected at medium bottom 6. But we have a chance here to get a steal of a player. So again, do we go with the sniper in Larry Scrimes? He's CHL though, so he would have to spend 2 years down at the CHL level, which leads me to believe that this two-way forward here, the Finn, Esa Järvinen, or probably Järvinen, just because he's Finnish. Did I say Swede? Part of me feels like I said Swede. I don't know. I might have. If I did, I mean, obviously it's just a slip of the tongue. Cut me some slack. We're going to go with Järvinen, just because we can actually send him down, or have, you know, we can actually send him down to the Hershey Bears. So let's see. Medium top 9. Not a bad pick. Let's send him to the next round. We'll double check back, just to make sure I didn't make a mistake. All things considered, we're having a pretty good draft here. Pojar would have been an interesting pick, medium top 6 enforcer. His overall will obviously be terrible, but yeah, we didn't really miss out on anybody. A couple of decent goalies going, but again, they're the type of like medium starter that's going to have no trade value. So I'm glad I did. I'm glad I made the picks that I did in the last episode with the goaltenders. So 4th to 5th round here, and it's going to be Ryan. I'm really glad too we took those defensemen at the top of the draft. Norm Ryan played for the Hamilton Bulldogs. Yes, he's a CHL guy, but for the 5th round, that's as good as we're going to get. You could argue Bolduc, but exact 7th, no thank you. There's this guy here, JC LaRose, exact bottom 6. I guess I'd rather take the risk on Norm Ryan, the playmaker. Let's pick him up. See how good of a pick he was. A low top 9, but for the 5th round, not terrible. Not terrible at all. Let's see here. Let's see. 5th round. Who do we miss out on? Medium bottom 6. Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. That was a good pick. That was a good pick. I'm cool with that. So, we are in the 6th round now, aren't we? 5th round, 6th round? I can't even remember. But LaRose is an option again. Actually, let me double check. Is this the 5th round? No, it's the 6th round. Okay, it is the 6th round, so I gotta play it safe here. I have 2 picks left, and I think rather than the exact bottom 6, I'd rather go with these last 2 guys here, Coop and Burns. We'll take Burns first. Alex Burns. I think that's Hungarian. Interesting enough. But he is our next pick. Absolutely. And hopefully the scouting paid off here. Low top 9. Beautiful. Beautiful. Exactly what we wanted. I imagine Coop will be the same potential. But for a 7th round pick, the scouting paid off. So we didn't get to scout every area, but towards the end of the draft here, it paid off. Jared Coop, 19 years old. So we'll be able to, send him down to junior as it is. Also low top 9. Guys, all things considered, a successful draft. I would say it was successful. We get 2 decent defensemen. We add a couple of forwards to the mix as well. Yes, it sucks. We missed out on a franchise-level player a year after missing out on a defenseman who's already an 85 overall. We're getting spurned a bit by the draft lottery, but we knew that was going to be a factor. We knew it was going to be a factor. It is what it is. Maybe one of these days we'll get lucky. But that is the issue with this series, is it would really expedite how quickly our team is improving. Like, we would be improving tenfold with those two players. And as we get better overall and all around, we're not going to be getting as high of picks, you know? I mean, look at how close we were to finishing second overall. Look at how close we were there. But let's take a look here. Moroza needs a new deal. We'll give him exactly what he wants. Goring could make some really decent potential here. We could have 3, maybe even 4 defensemen over the 80 overall mark, which is pretty sweet. We'll also re-sign Manez to a contract. All right, and then we have Peterson. Okay, dog, yeah, you just go ahead and you scratch your face. That's cool. No worries. Bobo Peterson, we'll be letting him go for now. Just for now. As well as, I believe that'd be Johannes Huss, as I've mentioned before. And from there, Malakoff, 66 overall at 18 years old. That's pretty damn good. Could be a staple for Hershey this year. Albee can let go, and I won't be your crying shoulder. And Ballhorn can also be let go. So, and then Whiting was, again, 63 overall at 18 years old. We'll just take care of this really quick, because why not? Again, it's not like I have to do the old 85% trick to get good contracts. Cap space is not going to be an issue in the series. Although in saying that, we are signing Svechnikov to a $3.3 million deal. But he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. Pataki. Oh, Brady Pataki. I'm sorry, but you have to go. PL3, you also have to go. And Borstmeyer, you have to be let go as well. We will sign Burns, though. Part of me is nervous about how fast I went through the defensemen. I almost feel like I made a mistake, which if I did, oh well, that's my fault. MacArthur, Line, and I'm sorry, Mr. Many Guns, who I never switched to a sniper. I apologize. But we're going to let go of him for now. There's a good chance he could be brought back, though, in all honesty. Motto needs to be re-signed. McIntyre as well. Just double-checking. You never know with some of the random names. We'll sign Coop, who ended up being a 66 at 19 years old. That's not too bad. Torrey Mitchell, thank you very much, but you are gone. I'm still just, no, I'm not pronouncing your name. It's not happening. Absolutely not. Novoseltsev is a 62 overall. Yarvinen is a 61 overall. Ryan is a 60. And that is pretty much that. Cal Davis isn't too happy. He was one of our draft picks. He's regressing too, which is unfortunate. And then Mr. Chizo, you are out the door as well. So we have 28 players under contract. So again, in the start, jeez, I just stumbled right through that, but that's okay. In the start of the next episode, we are going to have to sign quite a few players. Maybe that will be the year where I just decide, 70, 75 overall, who knows. Probably look at veterans. As far as dumb names in free agency, we pretty much signed most of them already and have let go of them. And I feel like most of them are probably retired because they're just sitting on the free agent list anyway. But that concludes what I would call, again, a very successful episode, all things considered. We had our most successful season to date, and yes, while we missed out, and actually we have 35 players under contract, that's good. While we missed out on a franchise potential player, the team is still, slowly but surely, progressing. I'm enjoying the hell out of this series. I know you guys are too, and I thank you for that. It's been fun. I'm looking forward to the next episode already. But for now, I have to say goodbye. So if you've enjoyed this episode, of course, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. We are very quickly approaching 5K. You guys are ridiculous. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Tugi24 and join the notification squad if you feel like it. I won't ask you to. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Draft to Glory.